Our next speaker is Mark Krieger.
Good evening. My name is Mark Krieger. I'm an attorney, and I'm not here to give my position on the library lot proposal, but to comment on the explanatory caption that Mayor Taylor and council members Westphal and Grand are proposing to be included on the ballot. I believe that the proposed language is clearly illegal and violates MCL, Michigan Compiled Law 117.21, and if approved by the council, would open the city up to a needless lawsuit. In the interest of transparency, my wife Alice is running for city council in the 3rd Ward. These comments, however, are mine and mine alone, and Alice and I probably disagree on more than we agree on. There are several problems with the explanatory caption. Most importantly, the statute that council and the assistant city attorney cite in support of their request actually prohibits an explanatory caption. I'll explain why. In lay terms, an explanatory caption is only permitted if the petition itself specifically authorizes city council to add one, and this petition does not. I refer you to subsection 2, and I've passed out the statute. It cites in pertinent part, I direct you to the last clause on subsection 2. If provided by the initiatory petition, the legislative body may add an explanatory caption. This petition does not have any language permitting an explanatory caption. Second, the statute makes clear that the language of the ballot proposal stating that the purpose of the proposed amendment must be impartial statement that does not create prejudice for or against the amendment in question. If the ballot proposal was to read something like the following: to enhance the social and cultural value of a community-owned public space in downtown Ann Arbor for individuals to work together towards creating a green space on the last remaining site where it could be accomplished, to provide city residents with a common location where people can meet for social, civic, and recreational purposes. That would clearly violate the statute because it's not impartial and it prejudices one side. The language that you want to include in your proposal is the equivalent to the language I just read, but from the opposite point of view. Finally, even if the council could add such a caption, which it cannot, the language proposed by council is neither a caption nor an explanation, but rather an argument designed to undercut fair consideration of the proposal. The statute does not define caption, but the Michigan Supreme Court has ruled that where a statute does not define a term, you look to the dictionary definition. What is the dictionary definition of a caption? A heading or title of a document. The proposed language that gives history, funding options, other data does not fit the common sense definition of a caption. It also runs contrary to a common sense reading of other portions of the statute. Another 30 seconds?
30 is too long, sir.
Pardon?
I'm afraid 30 exceeds
10
commonality.
seconds. Okay. The proposed caption exceeds 200 pages, where the ballot proposal can only be 100 words.
Thank you.
I want to emphasize, I'm not taking a position. I don't know whether I'm going to vote for it, but it's really an insult to the voters, and it's a violation of the law.
Thank you.
And you're going to get sued and pay attorney fees to whoever takes the suit.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Eric Lipson.
Good evening. I would once again like to say thank you to this body, City Council, for the ability to speak here freely and civilly and without rancor. And when we agree, good, and when we disagree, let's do it in a civil manner. I do have to say that I concur with Mr. Krieger's analysis, having read the same statute, and I came out on the same way. I'm afraid that this so-called caption that has been attached is merely a transparent attempt to subvert the ballot proposal. I believe that it's the most transparent thing that this council has done. Let me absolutely say one thing, that first of all, I believe that Mr. Lazarus, Ms. Beaudry, Mr. Postema are all consummate professionals. In no way is this meant to be a criticism of them, because of the fact that you are their bosses. So whatever they say, the mayor calls the shots. The buck stops with the mayor and his allies. And I would say that this group again and again and again has tried to thwart the will of the voters. This is voter suppression, as I said before. It is very, very serious. And as much as I love this city, which is more than I can express in words, at some point you have to stand up for what you believe in, and you have to proceed to the next step in conflict resolution. And that next step, if you guys decide to pass this outrageous so-called caption, you are again looking at another legal fiasco and more legal entanglements, which has all been a function of ignoring those first 5,000 people who came to you last year. If council had merely acknowledged those 5,000 people, we would not be here today. It would be a done deal. Either in November, it would have been decided. Instead, we are entangled in this brouhaha, and I put it not at the staff's feet, but at your feet. The attempts at overreach consistently and ultimately with this ridiculous, I would say, caption, which is actually a partial statement of facts and many omissions. For example, I never saw the word 17-story in the discussion in the caption, which is the size of the building. So I would just say to you and urge you, reject this proposal. Do not continue down this path of voter suppression and sabotage of the democratic system, because it is important to all of us that we maintain these democratic institutions, and all of us must follow the rules.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Lynn.
Again, I'm Larry Kestenbaum. I'm a Washtenaw County Clerk and Register of Deeds, although I'm speaking here primarily in my own personal capacity. I'm going to speak quickly here because I have three different things I wanted to address. One of them is in regard to the caption on the ballot, which I was actually not aware of this going on until today. I'm a little disappointed to hear that you have such a long caption that you'd like to add, because space on the ballot is precious. And going to an additional piece of paper for a ballot for basically for the entire city of Ann Arbor, if that's what it drives, because we are very tight on ballot space. That said, I think part of this is the problem of not having a daily paper, not having the kind of input into the voters' decision that perhaps we used to. And a lot of people will look at the proposal on the ballot, and I think we all know what our voters are like. They'll vote for it. And so I recognize what's happening here, but I think that this is not the first city council that has dealt with an initiated proposal that they didn't like, that they wanted to add language to the ballot. And my experience, my things that certainly have seen in the past is that the AG's office doesn't accept changes if they regard the original language as being sufficient.